Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Harari. I'm Vice President of Remodelers Advantage. If you're not familiar with us, we are a consultancy organization helping remodeling business owners in the US and Canada improve their business. Our cornerstone product is Roundtables, which is a peer-to-peer advisory program. I've been doing website design and development early on in my career. I started in late 90s. 99 kind of started my marketing endeavor. And pretty quickly thereafter, I started building websites. And over the years, I've built thousands. Easily, I could say I've built thousands of websites. I've as vice president of Remodelers Advantage, I don't do that much anymore, but I still help out around here. And just this year alone, for us, I've built 3 sites, kind of in my quote unquote free time. So I've been doing this for a while. I know what to look for. I know what converts, what doesn't. So I hope to share that with you. And the industry we're in, I quickly changed this session to a blue tape walkthrough because I think everybody knows what that's all about. How many people know this lady? I'm sure you've all met her or a relative of hers in the past. And if you've ever been in a situation of a blue tape walkthrough and had something like this, you may be in the situation of possible having like post-traumatic blue tape stress syndrome. So we're going to do something similar today. A few of you've submitted websites, your own websites that you wanted me to look at live and review and give you my feedback on it. So I'm going to be taping up your websites. And, you know, we're just going to have some fun. I'm going to point out the good, point out the bad, and there's always inevitably some ugly in there too. It's not my intention to be mean or harsh. So hopefully nobody takes offense. I tend to have a smart acidness to myself a little bit. I have a t-shirt that says I'm fluent in sarcasm and movie quotes. So that'll give you a sense for kind of where my mindset is. But before we start taping up some websites today, I wanted to give you a quick high-level review of, like, basically not even Websites 101. This is going to be 001. Okay, this is just really high-level stuff to give you a sense for what I'm going to be talking about. It's so that you'll have a basic understanding of where I'm going and an understanding of what I'm about to say. Okay, sorry, it's a little tough to get used to with some of these messages popping up. I'm gonna try to power through that.
You can ignore the messages, Mark. I'm monitoring and I'm answering people on the chat. So just
no, it's fine. No worries. I can't help myself. Thank you though. Okay, so websites 001. There are 5 basic types of websites that you could have. The first is a brochure. And the second is a lead generation website. I'm going to have e-commerce, community, and magazines. Okay. For the most part, anyone on this call and anyone that I've ever communicated with in a web consultation capacity lives in this world up here. The difference being a brochure site, some people think it's something to do with just size of a website, and that has nothing to do with it whatsoever. A brochure website, I've seen brochure sites that have thousands of pages in them. Essentially, all a brochure is, it has to meet 3 criteria to qualify for a brochure site. It needs to be visually stunning. It needs to convey critical information about your business, like what I do, where I do it, my service area, and how you can reach me, right? And really, at the end of the day, the third thing is its purpose is to give you validity. You have a website, so you're a business and you exist. The lead gen site has all that good stuff, but it goes farther. It's designed to be a machine. Okay, its purpose and goal is to generate leads for you. I guess the biggest thing to consider with that is with a brochure site, brochure sites tend to be really difficult to rank on Google. Okay, they just don't have what it takes. And I'll get into it a little bit as we go through our session today. But an easy way to think of it is if you're running a brochure site, your goal is to get people to call you, right? They're seeing your billboards on the street, your job site signs. They're seeing your trucks driving around. They're seeing magazine ads, whatever it is you're doing, however you're marketing yourself. They're seeing it offline, and they're calling you and contacting you, and then you're basically referring them to the brochure website, saying, "Hey, take a look at our work." Lead gen site, on the other hand, you're hoping people are finding you online, and it's through Google or online advertising and all that type of good stuff that they're going to locate you. Sometimes when you get a little bit more fancy, you can get into the e-commerce, the community, and the magazine sites. That's a little higher level. One of the remodeling business owners I used to work with, we did a full-on magazine site for lead gen, and it was really cool. And if we have some time, I might tell you about it. Just remind me, because I tend to forget. So moving on. Oh, actually, before I do move on, there's nothing wrong with either of these choices. But the critical thing about it is that it is a choice. One of the things, the biggest mistakes I see is that people, business owners, you guys build websites without purpose in mind. And you shouldn't do anything in your business without knowing why you're doing it, right? Why am I going to buy that truck, buy that tool, hire this person, move to that office space? Any decision you make has to have a business reason for it. But websites, for some reason, don't tend to fall into that. It's just, well, we're in business, so we need a website. And that's not good enough. If you don't know what the purpose of the website is, you don't know how to build it. And your web developers don't know what to design for you. And you're already off to the wrong foot. Consider this. A few of our members are $8, $9, $10 million remodeling business owners, but they only do like 3 jobs a year. These are massive jobs, okay? I mean, like $1.4, $2.5 million jobs, projects each, but they only do 2 or 3, maybe 4 a year. Do you think that remodeler, that business owner, needs a lead generating website? No. If you need three jobs a year, you don't need something that's generating hundreds of leads a month, right? So for them, a brochure site's probably the way to go. But as you can see, knowing your purpose and goal helps determine what type of website you should even be designing from the start. Okay. So there's 3 components of a website. And again, this is just going to be high level, just to give you a sense, because as I review the websites, I will point out either a technical, aesthetic, or a functional issue, or good thing. Again, it's not all to beat everybody up here with the websites. So what are these 3 components? You could probably imagine, but let's go through it real quick. The technical is anything tech, right? And it's that scary voodoo words, SEO, that it's like witchcraft, site speed, security. Anything technical with the website itself is obviously part of what creates a website. So we have the technical component. And then we have the aesthetic. This is the one where most people in this industry are most acutely aware of, and they really know what they want when it comes to this. Has everything to do with anything from fonts to color to layouts, everything aesthetic, right? This can tend to be a detriment, especially to the lead gen websites, right? Because a lead gen website, well, let me get to that with the functional element. The functional element or component, pardon me, this is the meat and potatoes, right? And all the elements that go into the functional capacities of the website have to do with what your website's purpose is, right? So this is where I would have the interactive part, and I'd start asking everybody. But what do you think a functional component of a brochure site might be? Right? So one functional component for a brochure site, yes, Becky, to inform, right? It's just to get some information out there. But one functional element specifically is you probably need some kind of a portfolio viewer or some kind of something to show off the work, right? You're going to have some carousel or a picture popper-upper thing, right? I'm using really technical words for you all here today because we're all high-level web designers. So you got the picture popper-upper thing and the spinner thing, all those kinds of things. Those are functional components of a brochure site, right? A lead gen website, what would be a functional component of that, right? Well, you're probably going to need like Google tracking pixels and those types of things on there. You're going to need lead capture forms and those types of things. Okay, so the functional elements, and again, you're seeing that if you started out the gate just saying, hey, I need somebody to build me a website, and you didn't have a purpose, you didn't have a goal. Again, how did your designer? That's actually a flag. If you hire somebody to do your website and they're not asking you these kinds of questions, what are your goals? What are your purposes? What do you want to do? You might want to run, because how do they know what to build? Again, I know not everybody on this call is a remodeler, but using a remodeler as an example, it would be the equivalent of just showing up into somebody's house and they say, I'd like a kitchen. I'll see you in 3 months when it's done. Not giving plans, not giving any kind of advice as far as what they're looking for in the kitchen or anything at all. And the modeler, if he didn't ask those questions, you should kick him out of the house pretty quick, right? So these three components make up what's called the website architecture. Okay. Now, we're almost done on this 101 segment of just giving you some high-level stuff. I just want to give you a few definitions because I inevitably talk about these things as I review the sites. We have two types of content writing, or I should say writing, and it's copywriting and content writing. Again, this is a part where I typically open it up. If anybody feels like taking a shot, I'll take a quick pause. Who knows out there what copywriting is? And I'll tell you, to save you, it's not the thing where you protect it with the, there it is. Yeah, good try, Becky. Yeah, it's not copyright. Everybody, and don't feel bad, Becky. Everybody does it. I get it at every session. They go right to the content protection, like you copyrighted content. That's actually the RIGHT, copyright. So everybody does it. No worries. If we were together in the same room, I'd give you a little something. I'd toss you out something for that. It's actual write-up of the website. Not quite. Any advice to platforms just to use? Okay. So yeah, I'll talk about that. So copywriting is writing to sell. Actually, I have that on the, I should click. How about if we do that? Writing that is meant to persuade someone. Excuse me. So basically any advertisement you've ever seen was composed or written by a copywriter. Okay, this is meant to persuade and sell. It's a studied art. It takes work and it takes effort and it's deliberate intent. But copywriting serves one purpose, and that's to sell. Content writing, conversely, is writing to entertain and keep people on your site. So you hear about, like, you need content on a website. You need the blog, right? Your blog should be this type of writing, content, providing information, engaging content that people want to read, right? Copywriting, people don't necessarily want to read it, but through the good writing, they are drawn to go on and move on through that content of copy to getting to the ultimate goal of what you're trying to persuade them to do. These are two mutually exclusive concepts, copywriting and content writing, and you can't do one and the other at the same time. You should be focusing on one or the other. Okay. Websites tend to lack copy. Almost every website I see has very little, if any, copywriting on it. I should have specified too. That's called copy. Is what an advertising agency they would provide you with copy for your website. Okay, so the last couple definitions here is a call to action. Hopefully you all have heard of that before. Yes, yes, yes. Calls to action, as you probably know from the name, is a call to take action. It's an instruction to the audience. And if you're not familiar with the term, basically you've seen it every day, every time you've seen any kind of an ad. It's call us today, click here to download, subscribe to our mailing list. Calls to action. Calls to action always have verbs, right? The easiest way to know, because I'm calling you to take an action. So the action is a verb. Download, call, click, all those types of things. And the USP is a unique selling proposition, if you're not familiar with that. It's what differentiates you from your competition. Now, again, this is part of my interactive part typically. It's very rare, unfortunately, when I run into some businesses out there that they actually have a unique selling proposition. And it's really the critical component of that is the first word in it, and it, unique. So typically I'll ask out to my audience, and if anybody wants to think they have a unique selling proposition and wants to message it to me, I'd love to hear it. But it's not things like, we give it all we got, and we really care about our customers. Customers are number one. If you're saying that none of your competitors think that, then okay, that's unique to you. But I think that's highly unlikely. So USP is a big one. And then these last two terms here, real quick, a lead magnet and CRM or MA. Lead magnets, you may not know the term, but you definitely know the thing. It's what you're incentivizing people, what you're giving them in exchange for their information online. So if you've ever downloaded a guide or a white paper, those are the lead magnets. They're, as the name implies, magnets to draw leads into your company. They have to submit a form. You give them this lead magnet. I actually do have as it were, a lead magnet. I have an ebook that I'll give to everybody on this call at the end. It's kind of a how-to guide on lead magnets. Tons of free resources in it. It's all free resources, like where to go get free types of help and support, where to get free images for your stuff, things that aren't going to get you notices for copyright infringement, the other copyright. So all kinds of good stuff in that. And CRM and MA are customer relationship management platforms and marketing automation platforms. So if you're not familiar with those terms, hopefully that was just a high level. I will be talking about them throughout the rest of our session. These platforms are required if you do want to have a lead generating website, because again, the goal of that is to do the work for you. Picture this processing unit that's sitting there and people are coming to your websites and it's just dropping them into buckets and it's spitting out people that they're not good for you, putting people that are good for you into this bucket. Hey, call this guy, call this guy. So these are the things you need to have if you're going to have a lead gen website. Sound good? All right, I think it's blue tape time. Out of curiosity, is anybody out there Donald Ducking it today? Everybody's wearing like pajama bottoms or something? Yeah? Okay. All right, let me just switch over to...
Did you have a particular order, Mark? Or do you want me to let you know who's here that submitted a website?
I'll tell you what, I've already got them pulled up for time.
Okay.
And so we'll just kind of go through and we can actually, I'll just call it is Kitchens Inside Out in the room. You guys can all see I got my blue tape, my fancy blue tape on there. So we're really doing a blue tape walkthrough here.
Let me go check what name that was.
Actually, I think it's down here. It looks like Judy Cooper.
Oh, yes. And I saw that Judy was here with us.
Okay.
Oh.
Hi, Judy, if you're out there.
Do you want me to unmute Judy?
Sure, she can unmute. We can unmute her and have a conversation.
Yeah. Give me a second, Judy. Unmute. Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Judy.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So Kitchens Inside Out. That's you.
That's
So
me.
there's a couple things here. I'm going to ask everybody this. What's the purpose or goal of your website? Is it to generate leads or to give you just kind of a business card online?
Well, I guess generate leads.
Okay. How's it been doing for you?
Not so good.
Okay. I'm not surprised. Okay. So there's just a few things here for you. Some of it's technical. Okay. And you guys can see all my tabs up here, right? So you also are getting to see kind of who I'm coming up on. If you see here when I hover over this is called your website, your title. You've got Kitchens Inside Out repeating itself.
Oh,
So there's something odd going there. And this line is also, it's the top, it's what's going to show up in the Google search result page as that blue line of the title of your page. So if you've ever seen it, so the way it would show up if someone actually searched for you, it'll likely that blue clickable text of your listing on Google will say Kitchens Inside Out, Kitchens Inside Out. So we probably would want to fix that.
got it.
And this here, one thing I like a lot, I love how much white space you got. I think one thing that not enough companies in our industry do is give a sense of spaciousness. And that's really something you want to convey, whether you're a remodeler or an electrician or whatever, it doesn't matter. You want people to come to your website and feel free and spaciousness. So I think it's really cool that you're doing that. But you can see we don't have any calls to action, and this is called above the fold. It's using the term, if you're not familiar, of newspapers back in the day. There were these things called newspapers where the news were printed on them, and people would have to go out and get them. And they were folded over, and whatever was above the fold was what you would see when you walked by the stand. And so this is above the fold content. Above the fold content needs to be the most critical, most important, because you don't know if people are going to scroll down. They may not ever scroll down. So you don't necessarily want to have stuff that you're willing to not have seen below the fold. So above the fold, we have no calls to action. You do have a phone number, which is nice. We at least have the phone number, but we don't have a call to action. So my choices now are to scroll down. It's a beautiful picture. That's professional photography, I assume, yes?
Yes.
Good job on that. I mean, I can't stress that enough. If anyone's out there is not a photographer, then you need to be hiring a photographer to do it. I know iPhones and all that are phenomenal, and I don't have a problem with taking pictures with iPhones or any other phone, but you need to have the photographer's eyes for staging and framing and all that good stuff. So it takes more than the phone, right? So moving down here, actually, this is the end of the page. So you can actually see, before I really get into it, there's literally barely any content on this website page. And Google, if you want to be found and you want this to be a lead gen site, well, Google's indexing the content that's on this page, and then it's trying to match people's searches to what you're telling them you do. You don't have enough information here. You're not giving yourself a good chance for Google to pair you with the people looking for you. So we need more content in general. So welcome to Kitchens Inside Out. I see this all the time. Is it mission critical? No. It's a pet peeve of mine. I do not like welcoming people to my website. That's circa 1998 stuff. Welcome to my website. Take a look around and let me know if you see anything you like. Get right to it, okay? Tell them the information that they want to know. And that's going to take me to the next part. And this is all about copywriting. I'm going to give you all a quick copywriting lesson, a free lesson for you. And this is stuff I usually charge $52,000 an hour for. Okay? All right. The most powerful word, a copywriter's arsenal, is you. Y-O-U. Everyone on the planet is worried about themselves. And you might have heard of the term, what's in it for me, and all those kinds of things. It's very selfish, but it's 100% true. So So true, in fact, that we do it ourselves. And so I see it in everybody's websites. We're so concerned with ourselves, that's all we write about. And it's the same here. The mission of Kitchens Inside Out. And this is the key to this part. It's something that's easily fixed because you are talking about your clients, but you are calling them your clients. So we're having a third person conversation with the person that comes to your website. The mission of Kitchens Inside Out is to improve our clients' lives by helping them creatively design and improve their living space and working spaces. Okay, is that a terrible sentence? No, it's a nice sentiment. But I'm on your website, me, Mark. I'm looking for someone to help me. Talk to me. Don't tell me about your clients. Tell me about me, right? So, and you could change this. You can improve this at its most core level just by swapping out the word you for this third person stuff. The mission of Kitchens Inside Out is to improve your life by helping you creatively design and improve your living and working spaces. You see how much more powerful that statement is? I feel like, wow, you're going to do that for me? That's great. Instead of just talking about the people out there in the world that were smart enough to hire you. So what we want to do is we want to talk about you as much as possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm unmuted.
No worries, no worries.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
can, you can ignore me too. You don't have to answer at all. I'll just move
I
on.
just need to tell someone in the background to be quiet because I was.
It's fine. It's fine. It's all
So
good.
I'm back. But yes, that makes perfect sense, and it's much more powerful. I totally agree.
Good deal. Great. Now, down here, the only other thing I'd say, Judy Cooper at Comcast.net, it's not giving me a sense of confidence that you've been in business for very long or that you will be in business for much longer. So get Judy or Judy Cooper at kitchensinsideout.com. You could literally pay, it's Google G Suite is the business version of Gmail. G Suite is $6 a month.
Okay.
Okay, so if you can somehow manage to find $6 a month, then see if you can do that. There's 1,000 other ways to do it too, but just off the top of my head, G Suite's $6 a month, and that's not just for the business email. That's also going to get you like the Google suite of tools, all the online like spreadsheets and all that stuff. So it's a kind of a good deal.
Got it.
Cool. And again, so the contact page as well, you're going to fix that. And it's nice to have forms. People, now today's day and age, if you're going to have that, is that working? Okay.
Oh, hot link.
It is.
That should
Yeah, I think it is. I don't know. It make it a hot link, but yeah, if you could have a form. I mean, everybody's used to seeing web forms. They don't want to do that. So, but all in all, we need some more content, and you don't have a blog. So without a blog, you're not going to get found on Google. It comes down to giving Google information about who you are and what you do. So let's just put it this way. Google's trying to pair you with the people that are searching for you. So if you have, you can see the amount of content on this page. The About Us page has another 2 paragraphs. Your portfolio is just pictures. And then we go to the home page. You've literally got 5 paragraphs of content on your entire website. So if somebody's searching for stuff that you do, they're not going to find you. They're not going up against a website that has 160,000 words, right? It's an uneven playing field. And that's where blogging comes in. Because you just start posting blog posts. Even if you do once a month, it'll start to build up over time.
Okay.
Good stuff?
Thank you very much. That's great information.
Sure thing. Okay, so we're gonna move on.
Judy, I will be muting you again.
Thank you.
All right.
And this is Anna K. Gibson.
Yes, Anna is
Style for
here
Life.
as well.
Okay, cool.
Anna, I will unmute you. We can try that out.
Hello, hello. Oh,
Hi,
hello.
Anna. How are you?
Hi. How are you?
I'm great. So, what is the purpose of your website?
To generate leads, of
It
course.
is. Okay.
It absolutely 100% is.
Okay.
I know that my website is due for an upgrade. It's been built about 4 years ago. I did have some technical difficulties, so there's some glitches and stuff like that. It will be fixed, but looking
Okay.
forward to hear your comments.
Cool. Cool. Okay. So, a small thing up here. Again, some of this stuff is minor, but we're going to point it out.
Yes.
This in the tab is what's called a favicon, Favicon, and
Yes, I used
most.
to have one and something happened with the website. It
Okay.
crashed, but I'll let you explain it to other people. Sorry.
Yep, no worries. Yep, no, it's fine. So, for anybody else that doesn't know, so that's just a way so people like me, because at any given time, I tend to have at least 42 open tabs. So, the little favicon there is a way for me to know which website I'm going to click back over to. And Anna here, this is just, I can tell she's running a WordPress website because that's the default WordPress favicon. So you're going to want to update that to a logo that depicts what your brand is. Sometimes it's not exactly your logo because some logos don't lend themselves to that little tiny space, but you get the gist. So this is something over here, Anna. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get, I don't think you guys can see it, but my controls are in my way for the presenter and I was moving it. Oh my, let me go back. Okay, so our little sticker was up here, our blue tape. Everybody does this, okay? And this is a little something too that I think is a good point to make. A web designer isn't necessarily a marketer, but marketers can be web designers, if that makes sense. So web designers, some do know marketing stuff, not all do. And so they're not working in your best marketing interest if you've got one of them without someone that knows marketing. This drives me crazy because again, if your site is a lead gen website, your purpose is for everything to point to the website. You want trucks and billboards and everything say, go to my website, go to my website, go to my website, because then the website has been built to process all that traffic and nurture them into leads or give you the active right now, ready, hot to trot leads. And the website's built to do it. So you're sending everybody to your website. And then it's such a standard design thing that web designers do nowadays that it's almost like anybody you hire, they just stick your social media up here in the upper right. Upper right is where I want to see contact information, which is a standard too, right? Here's your contact, here's your phone number. But then it's like, okay, here's my Facebook. Now, you're supposed to be doing everything you can to get people to your website. And then the first thing we do is we kick them out. And we send them off to Facebook. And we all know what happens when people go to Facebook, right? Yeah. They're gone. Oh my gosh, look, a kitten photo. Oh, look at that. Oh, my Aunt Susie's message. Oh my gosh, I got 20 notifications. And I got 2 people that want to be my new friend. Oh my gosh. And they're gone forever, right? So I'm not a fan of that. Now, there are these utilities where when you click on it, instead of it sending you to the Facebook page, it has a pop-up that allows them to like your page or something like that from here. That's okay. Mm-hmm. But we don't want to send them off. And even more so than that is this guy here. I definitely would advise everyone to stop doing this house thing. If you think about it, you're going to have kind of like the face palm forehead moment. I mean, look what happens when I go to house. You've got people on, no, it's trying to log me into house. You got people on your website and you just sent them to a platform full of your competitors saying, hey, find other professionals here, right? So it's kind of like, it would be like Walmart stopping you at the front door and say, I need you to go over to the mall and find our in-mall location, right? Where all my competitors are too. So house is great, but house should be your lead generating thing to drive people to you. Once you get them to your website, don't send them off to house, in my opinion. Again, everything's with the purpose. If you find that you can convert people best on a house website, if you can get them, and that's the way it works for you and your methodology, then by all means do it. But that's usually not the case.
Okay.
But for sure, also, you've got one minor mistake here because it should at least be clicking straight to your page. And this is just taking me to the house.
Yeah, I don't know what it
Yeah.
was directly. I don't know what's happened.
Yeah, okay. No problem. So coming down here, the photography looks professional, but it's, at least for me, and I've looked on a few different monitors, it looks a little fuzzy and blurry. So I think you just need a higher quality image.
Okay.
But what we have here is the dreaded slider. And I'm not a fan of sliders. For one thing, I think this is rotating, but it stops. So if I go up here, does it move on its own?
Yeah.
See, I never know how it works. And then you do have a call to action. Very good. Schedule a 15-minute call. Okay. So we've got a call to action, everybody. Now it's hidden. And this is kind of one of those things that aesthetics and people that have a creative eye, they don't like to muddy up this beautiful, beautiful picture with an ugly, ugly button. So we're going to hide the button all the way down here. And we're going to make the button the same color as the background so it blends in nicely. And that is basically breaking every rule of call to action, okay? We want that puppy to stand out, be in your face, and say, hey, do this thing today. Call me now, right? And just another minor thing, schedule a 15-minute call. When I clicked on it, all I can do is do a 30-minute discovery call with you.
Yeah, which is the same. I just need to, again, I need to update. I changed it to 30 minutes because it's never 15 minutes, but it's, yeah.
And that's fine. Just pointing it out, so it's kind of, and see, and then this, okay, so now we got a different slide here and we're hiding this free kitchen design ebook on the bottom. So it's great to have the calls to action, but we want to make them prominent. I mean, that's what we want people to do ultimately, right? So, but good job on having calls to action. And this was, I think I just tagged it because it was kind of the same thing. We specialize in creating spaces that are as unique as our customers' wants and needs. Whether you're interested in traditional, contemporary designs, we can bring your vision or reality from start to finish. So it's actually, that's pretty good. You are doing, you have some you in there. So that's a good job there. Design that reflects your personality and style. Okay, good. So we're on there. I think we can be a little stronger, but that's the idea. That's what we want to do. We want you to be talking to me. It's a one-on-one conversation between you and the prospect. And always think of it that way. I'm talking to the person looking at the website. You need to think, and it's actually in my in that little free guide that I'll give everybody. You need to think of your website like a booth at a home show or a trade show. If you've ever done one, if you've ever had a booth at a show, people don't walk by your booth and you start talking to them in the third person. You're talking to them, right? And and another thing you're doing is you're trying to get their information from them. You don't want them to walk by and leave and then hope that they come back. How many people have ever walked a trade? I know most people in here have probably been to KBiz, IBiz, IBS, all that happy stuff. How many people have ever walked those aisles and then gone back through it again? It's like once you're through that aisle, that's in the past, it's gone. And navigating, when you're searching for a designer or a remodeler or a builder or a car, whatever, it's very similar. You're not going back. You tend to just move forward, forward, forward. So we want to capture them when we have them.
So on the same note, as somebody is a small business, and I know there's probably a lot of us online with you, like, it's always the struggle whether do you use me, when I talk about myself, or do you use us and we? Like, what is your thoughts on that?
there's no blanket answer for that one. It's okay to say we and us, and you would just use I or me when it is a message from you personally is basically the deal. So, I would use in general terms of communicating, you'd probably want to use the plural.
Mhm.
And it's I don't know. Do you have a large team?
No, it's just me and my contractors. But
Okay.
yeah.
So for you, it's a little different. I mean, and then the name of the company is Anna K. Gibson, right? So
Right.
you can do the I. I think what ends up happening there is if you start saying we and us, unless you're going to show me a team page and show me a picture of the rest of your team, I'm going to think you're trying to sound bigger than you are. So
Gotcha.
just be you, and let's be honest. And this is Anna K. Gibson, and it's me that you get, and you play up to that strength, and it's a strength. You don't have to mess with corporate blue tape. You get me every time,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
And this was just a minor thing. Great that you have testimonials, and you absolutely want to have testimonials. If possible, include a picture with it, because it just gives more validity to it, and everybody wants to see a pretty face. They know that there's somebody there. I'm not a fan of necessarily the way that it's written, what others say. It sounds a little, kind of like, I don't know, arm's length, but it's a minor thing, just pointing out some stuff for you there.
I think the photos are there. If you go to the tab where the full reviews are,
Oh, you got photos there?
there should be photos on there.
Okay. All right, I'll click there for a second. So, and this was just one little point I wanted to make. I'm not saying you don't do it. It's just something I want to make everybody, bring to everybody's attention on the call. These Best of House awards and others like them are a double-edged sword. So you just need to use your own best judgment with it. You start to get too much of a gap, and if we're like, okay, so what, you haven't won in 2 years? You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I did update their website so it doesn't look like I got one right. Yeah.
So it turns out it's not a good or bad thing. It's just something, and there are ways to present it in a way where you could even just, your last award was in 2015 and get away with it. It's just all in how it's presented. But it's just a double-edged sword that you should always be aware of, which actually takes me to something else. Everyone on the call, most people never go back to their own website whenever it's done. So you forget what is even on there. And so every once in a while, even if you got to set yourself maybe a monthly or at minimum a quarterly appointment on your calendar that just says, hey, go check out my website, and just to go back and navigate it, because you'll forget some things that are on there that, man, that's so dated, or, oh, that's got to be changed out, because it's a set it and forget it, and then you never go back as the owner. So just take a quick peek there. Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. So you got the pictures of the. I was saying the pictures of actually the person. So Anna, maybe her headshot and Bill's headshot. And again,
it's not gonna happen.
No, it's fine. And again, this is just a more blanket statement for everyone. If possible, if you can do it, it's always a little stronger. That's all.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, great. So thanks, Anna. I hope that helps a little bit. I'm going to keep trucking. Everybody should be getting good stuff from each other's websites too. So you may have something on here that was also on the Kitchen Inside Out. And so I'm not going to just repeat it for the sake of repeating it. I'm trying to find things that are unique so that we can get a lot of good info out of this time we have together.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Anna. I will mute you again.
Thanks.
And forgive me, everybody, if I mispronounce anything. I'll give it my best shot. I'm not the greatest linguist on earth here. So I guess it's a Puzzo. I would
It belongs to Lindsay, who is also with us.
Okay.
Lindsay, I will be unmuting you to see if that works. Can you hear us? Lindsay, can you try to speak?
Hi, Lindsay. So it's okay. I'm going to start talking, and if she gets on, she gets on. That's fine. This is actually what I wanted to point out was this is a good use of a slider or a carousel. I mentioned before, I'm not a fan. I hate them. One of the reasons I hate them is because of the element that we had on the AKG, that they're trying to put content on it. You can't read it. Do I click through? Is there a button? When it's like this and it's just quickly rotating on its own, no matter if I have my mouse on it or not, and it's just a showcase, I think that's okay. You're getting away with the proper use of the carousel, in my opinion. The misuse of it is trying to say, okay, like I mentioned, everything's above the fold, important stuff, and people have turned the carousel into a way of putting 19 things above the fold. So they put, 18 slides, each slide being, here's my kitchens, here's my bath, here's my handyman service, here's my design service, and hoping that it's almost like trying to cram an entire website above the fold. It's a cheat and it doesn't work, and it makes for a bad user experience. And not too much. Again, like I said, I wanted to kind of touch on a few things for everyone. This is very much similar. Again, it's the welcome to Puzzo Kitchens. I don't like exclamation points on things. I would always recommend anyone, and down here, give us a call today and learn how we can help with your project. Big exclamation point. I think it's sophomoric and this doesn't seem professional, unless that's really a style that you're going for, like kind of a whimsy. Exclamation points are good for a whimsy kind of a brand personality. If you're not going for that, you're not going for anything of that kind of a nature, don't drop exclamation points on everything. Don't scream at me. Okay. But again, we're not talking about it's some of the same stuff. It's a lot of we. So we don't need to drone on about it. We do kitchens, baths. We are always looking for a new challenge. Give us a call. Us, we. Down here, expertise you can trust. We've been, we that we love, we pride ourselves. So it's all about me, right? And so that's not good copy, because you're not telling me anything that is about me. And all I care about, remember, is me. I don't care about you. So we want to avoid that. And this is another little pet peeve of mine, just because I just stumbled on it. Again, nothing necessarily wrong with it, but I'm Mark, and that's what I tend to do. I don't like we pride ourselves. If we were to Google that, everybody prides themselves on something. And at the very least, maybe make it something good, but it's always something like, okay, you guys pride yourselves on being the company that cares about the community. Well, I'm sure you do, but doesn't everybody care about the community? I mean, it's the community you live in. I think you care whether it goes to, heck in a handbasket or not. If I'm just going to do this, we pride ourselves. Excuse me. The phrase 88,700,000 results. We pride ourselves. You're not really standing out with a platitude like that. And that's what it comes down to, the use of all these platitudes. We pride ourselves in great service, great quality, and affordable prices. Okay, thank you. So we want to avoid that type of thing. And I think that was the biggest thing. We never settle for less than perfection. It's a tricky thing. You want to avoid these things that, what I took when I was in college, I took some creative writing courses and those types of things, in addition to the psych courses and all that stuff. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I actually never graduated because I couldn't decide what I wanted to do with my life. But one of my creative writing teachers once told me, show, don't tell. Show, don't tell. And that's one of the things that we need to do more of. We need to show and stop telling people. Prove it to me. We never settle for less than perfection. Anyone can say that. Show me how that's the truth and let me come to the conclusion on my own that, it seems to me like they don't settle for anything less than perfection. I need to come to that conclusion on my own. So when you come up with a statement like that, try to figure out a way to write it so that you don't say it. And I have to conclude that on my own, because that's also the strongest way to convince somebody. Make them think they thought of it on their own. They came up with the conclusion on their own that you are a company that doesn't settle for less than perfection. But you didn't tell them that. They just got to that conclusion on their own. So they're smart because they were able to deduce it. And down here on the Good job having a call to action again. And I love that you do have a mailing list. Fantastic. Anybody should have a mailing list. You should be building that list up. If for nothing else, then it just helps increase the value of your company. I mean, imagine if you did want to sell a buyer and you tell a buyer, I have 52,000 people in my mailing list that are prospects. That's going to increase the value of your company. The downside is nobody who wants to join the mailing list. Right? Please email me as much as possible. So we can name it. The beauty of the internet and the age and day and age we live in right now is that you can have names for these things and just brand it. Get the Better Living Digest today. Whatever it is, give it a name. Don't just call it a mailing list. And then I like this, be the first to know about new products, helpful tips, and design trends. That's important too. You want to let people know what they're getting when they subscribe to your list. So that's an excellent job on that. I think we could tweak it a little bit better to improve the conversions of this list. I don't know, we don't have her on right now, but I don't know how well it's performing for you. I think most people, I'm getting dry throat. I think most people just drop people onto their mailing list once they become a client, but we want to also create subscribers organically. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one here because we are running low on time. So I'm just going to keep barreling through. Budget kitchen and bath. I'm not suggesting, so one thing for sure with a name like that, this is a marketing thing, not just a website thing. You're definitely introducing price right out the gate. It's all about price. So if that's your thing, I get it. That's good for you. This is one of those websites that's like a do-it-yourselfer type thing. I'm not a fan of those. Yep, GoDaddy and Squarespace. I think I did see a pop-up earlier about, what do you think of those sites? I hate them. And that's just because you don't have much control. And at the end of the day, let's be honest, you aren't a professional web designer, and odds are you're not a professional marketer. So what are you doing? The same people I talk to that build their own websites will have the same conversation about clients' homes they go into and say, you should have seen, this guy thought he was a carpenter. He was in there, he had this thing and that, that trim, oh my God, right? And they'll complain about the do-it-yourselfer, and then they build their own websites. So I think it's a little double standard there. But it looks like a nice picture. I don't know why it's slanting, but I kind of feel like I'm over here somewhere. So I don't know. We want to kind of we want to have better framed photos, right? Okay. So and stick to the standards of web design as well. A logo doesn't belong in the middle of a page all the way down here. It throws people off. So that's just the other thing I wanted to point out. Logos are up center left or center or on the left, up on the dashboard. Stick to the standard best practices and you're good to go. And I think it was just a little bit more copy stuff there. So I didn't want to spend too much time. I'm going to try to get a couple more in here. Modern virtual designs. This is the case of we have a non-secure site. So you need to have HTTPS on your website. Google doesn't like non-HTTPS. We got our go away, leave my website today issue here. And then we got a, hey, I'm streaming at you, woohoo. So we don't want to do that. And then this site is just really confusing because before I know what they do, it's like the content's upside down. So we need to explain what's going on here. It's a very confusing layout, the user experience. I literally took quite a while to read through it to even understand what was happening here. So my advice to this site is it's hard to get out of your own head, right? You know what you do and you know all about yourself. It's really hard to not know what you know, to unknow something. So when you try to convey it, and I believe this was a do-it-yourself site as well. but I don't know. You need to keep in mind the people that are coming here and don't know anything about you. As soon as I just didn't even know what to do with this. I just started clicking and I ended up on, see, like the very first thing at the top there. And I mean, this is really cool. It's beautiful. I don't know what I'm doing though. I don't even understand what I'm looking at. Are you selling me the software or are you going to do it for me? I mean, I ended up figuring it out, right? But the flow of the site didn't make sense. You need to tell a story. And I was confused as a user. And then I'll finish off here with contract furnishing, Mark. The downside, it's a nice site, but it's very cluttered. This is an aesthetics issue, and I think there's some cleaning up we can do there to make it a little more user friendly. I mean, for example, I don't know why we need to have your logo in 2 spots here. I know there's your logo. We need to do it here, so we're just cluttering up this space, right? And it's very challenging to put text on an image, and I see what you did there, but it does start to look really cluttered. If you're going to do text on an image, maybe pick an image that has less going on. It's such a busy image in the background that we're making it. And then here's a really compacted, see how everything's like really stacked on top of everything? I can get into the code here really quickly. I'm just going to do this. If I do, let me click on that. Let me do that. See already, like see how just it's more spacious. We give ourselves a little room instead of it being all the way up here. And now I have the white space and it's look at that. Okay, there's separation and I can move. Now again, we put some gap here, put a nice 170, 200 pixel gap there. Give me some space. Let me breathe. Let me go back and show you again. This is what it looks like now. I'm gonna hit refresh. And here it is before I moved those. See, it's so crammed and jammed in there. So these are minor things that can easily fixed, but I think we need to keep all 3 of these components in mind, right? The aesthetic, the functional, and the technical. And if you put them all together, you're going to get a great user experience. So I'm going to leave it on this. We got 1 minute left. I appreciate your time. That was my first time doing it virtually, so hopefully it was as entertaining as it is when I do it live. But more importantly, hopefully you got some really good stuff out of it that you can apply to your websites. The lead magnet thing, it does put you on my list if you do it, but I promise I won't. It's actually if it's just a text thing, and all you do is opt out immediately after, and I'll never bug you again. So it's just my easiest way to get you the information. So if you want it, you can text the word magnets to the cell phone number there. You'll get it automatically, and then you can opt out, and I won't bother you ever. I just didn't know another way to get you the information in this process. So thank you for your time. I hit it right at 12. I guess I'm going to hand it back over to my handlers.
Thank you, Mark. That was great. And people in the chat are commenting as well that this was very useful information. Do you have time for a couple questions?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I just didn't know how tight we were on time.
We're good if you have a couple more minutes. There was a question that came in from Lynn saying, we have won a lot of design awards and have been published a lot. What do you consider the best way to leverage this, that we are experts without it being a vanity page?
Without it being a vanity page? I don't think there's anything wrong with having a vanity page. You're allowed to toot your own horn. And, I think it depends on your brand personality and what it is you're trying to convey yourself as. But I like a brand that is down to earth and just says it like it is. Don't try to sound all techie and professional. Say, hey, here's, instead of like, as an example, going back to copy, schedule an appointment. Oh, God, what are the things we schedule in life? Think about it. You schedule oil changes, doctor's appointments, root canals. Nobody schedules a vacation. You plan a vacation, right? So just the use of words there. And my point just being that don't say testimonials or awards and recognition. Say something that's a little more casual and more personal, and I think that softens the tooting your own horn thing. But say, see our successes. I don't know. I'm winging it, but I think if I understood the question correctly, there's nothing wrong with having a vanity page and showing off. You're supposed to prove to them. And like I said, in the show, don't tell, that's how you show. You let them come to the conclusion. Let the awards speak for themselves, so to speak, right?
Thank you. And you mentioned earlier about like those platforms to build your own website, that you don't recommend them, but for solopreneurs, let's say who don't have the budget to invest in a web developer, what would be a good platform to use in your opinion?
Yeah, and they all, whether it's Squarespace or Wix, or the handful of others, it's okay. Okay, I'm telling you, best case scenario. I realize that a solopreneur or someone just getting started doesn't have even like maybe $5,000, which you can get a basic site for about $5,000. But even that might be a stretch, and so it's okay to use those tools. But excuse me, but in a long-term business application, you want to get off of that when you can. If for no other reason, then you actually don't own it. You're renting, right? It's the same thing as like a Facebook page. So you don't own this property. Wix owns it, and anytime they want, they can change their policies. They can go out of business, and you lose everything. So if for no other reason, you want to own everything that is your property. But as far as them specifically, I don't have a preference. Honestly, I can't speak to them because I've never used them. But from what I hear, they're all very similar. And I don't think you're better off or less at an advantage like on GoDaddy Site Builder versus Wix or anything like that. I don't think there's any change there. The websites like I said, I've built literally thousands of websites in the past 20 years. And every one of them has been WordPress. It's a very user-friendly platform, and it does take a little bit of comfort, but it's not as hard as you would think.
Earlier, when you were reviewing one of the websites, you mentioned like to stick to like normal website standards when doing your website, like having the logo at the top, and things like that. Is there like a resource that you could recommend of like what these standards are, or for people who really don't know what they could look at?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So here's something. I think the best resource is look in the mirror, because something like that, what a website looks like. I guarantee you that if you scroll all the way to the bottom, what are you going to find in the footer? You're going to find some copyright message. You're probably going to find some social media links. You're going to find, what you're going to find in certain places on a website. In the upper right corner is going to be the contact. And in the upper left or the center is going to be the logo. That if you click the logo, it's going to take you to the homepage. 95% of people have used websites before, and they just know how websites work. And so kind of my point was, I've seen a few websites where they're getting really creative. They want to stand out. We want to be different than anything anybody's ever seen. You need to get leads. And if you're getting into a position where you're trying to get really crazy with your website's design and people are lost when they get there, you're doing yourself a disservice. Don't make them learn how to use a website. They already know how to use a website. Teach them about you and what you have to offer and why you're their best choice, and let them just know how to use your website already. Don't confuse them out the gate. I think that was the point I was really trying to make.
Good point. Could you share the link to this? If people are not able to text in, we have some people writing to us that are from Canada, so they would prefer not to text in. Is there a link to this that they could download?
I'll tell you what. It's not live yet. Give me 5 minutes after the call to set it up. But I'll do remodelersadvantage.com/connect.
Okay.
And you'll be able to just download it from there. I just have to set up a redirect for that. So remodelersadvantage.com/connect. if that works. Or do you want me, or I could just send it to you guys and you could distribute it to anybody.
Yeah, that works. We're going to be sending the recording, so we could send that along.
Okay, good. I can do that too. I'll do everything and you guys can all figure it out.
Okay, perfect. So everyone will receive this when we send out the recording of this session.
Awesome.
Last quick question from Anna. You were just mentioning like not to reinvent the wheel when it comes to the look of the website, but so how do you create something unique to stand out? Maybe like one quick tip.
You need to connect with them. That's all. I mean, when the minute I get to the website, I think the last estimate is you have 3.2 seconds to wow somebody, right? Am I still sharing the screen? Can I show you guys something? I think we have a minute here. Right.
Becky mentioned personality. That's a good point, Becky. Yeah, showing your personality.
Here's a okay, so this is one of our members, and his site still needs a little work, but I love this, right? That you can see like right out the gate, and this again, I'm proving my point that you can do a lot of things right and still struggle. It's hard to read that because of the color scheme, and he's got that white text on it. But if you can see it, you get here, and the concept is great. As soon as I get to his website, I see a gorgeous room and just the phrase, "It's time that you love your home." Now, we're here to help design, build, and remodel your space, right? Put yourself, what is the mindset of the person that's looking for you? What's their pain? What are they feeling? What do they want solved? And tell them immediately, as soon as they get to your website, that you get them, you know what they want, and you're there for them. And if I was looking for a design, build, remodeler, and I showed up on Sebring's website, and I just see him saying, "It's time that you love your home," I'd say, exactly, that's why I'm here, because I'm sick of my home and I want to love it. So you get me, right? So if you want to stand out, speak to the audience, speak to them, and you'll impress them much more than having a logo in some crazy space or having like the one website with that slider that had that vertical slash, so it wasn't necessarily center. You're trying, it's almost gimmicky, trying to stand out that way. Stand out by being awesome and being their solution. That's what I would say.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much, Mark. So I really appreciate your time. I think everybody also enjoyed it. So thank you everyone for joining us. And thank you so much, Mark.
Great.
Have a great
Thank
day.
you all. Take care.